Hi guys, Mr. Stark. Today I want to look at graphing point slope form. Now, this is probably the most graphing friendly form that there is because it tells us the two key pieces of information that we need to make a graph pretty much every time. So again, it tells us a point or an ordered pair and the slope. And again, we got to use the formula to kind of pull this information out. Once we have the information, it's just a matter of getting it on the graph. So let's start with the slope. Now, remember that your slope number is always the number that's in front of your parentheses here in this form. And we take a look here, notice our m and our -2 are kind of in the same position, and easy enough, our slope, or our m, is going to be -2. Now, we know we're going to be graphing, so it might be wise to write this as -2/1. Why? So that we can see that rise and run. Remember, rise being your numerator, run being your denominator. Now, the ordered pair can be a little tricky, so we're going to try and find an ordered pair in here. Now, what we need to remember is that in the formula, not only are the x and y switched, right? No, remember, an ordered pair goes x, y. But also, we have to remember that this is going to be minus my y value. So even though it looks like it should be negative, it's actually going to be positive and just the opposite of that. So let me show you what I mean. Notice that this is y plus 3. Well, in order for this to be y plus 3, our y value would have to be -3, right? Because if I do y minus, just like the formula up here, in order for this to turn into a plus, that value of y, or y sub 1, would have to be -3. So what I can do is I can say, okay, well, I like to think of what I see is just the opposite. So what I mean by that is my y value, it looks like it should be +3, but it's actually -3. And just the same for our x value. Notice our x sub 1 up here. It's the same idea, right? Notice it looks like it's going to be -2, but remember, that's how the formula is set up. So it's actually +2. So what we have is we have an ordered pair as a starting point, and now we have a slope, and we can now build our graph. We're going to use our ordered pair as our starting point. So 2, -3, over 2, down 3. There's my ordered pair. Now I need to use rise and run to graph my slope. Now, remember, what we do is we start at the ordered pair that we just graphed. We're going to rise -2, so we're going to go down 1, 2, and we're going to run +1, which would be 1 to the right. Now, just to be good and mathematically thorough, what I like to do is continue my pattern across my graph. So what we'll notice is where I went down 2 and right 1, I could actually go up 2 and left 1, and that would be my same line. And I can kind of continue this across my entire graph. That way I can show the relationship the whole way through. Now, we technically only need 2 points to make a line, but it is nice to see, you know, our relationship kind of run through our entire graph. So we'll go ahead and use a straight edge. We'll draw a line straight through, arrows on the end, make sure that our pattern goes on forever. Looking at our second one, notice slope. The number in front of the parentheses is -5/2. So we'll decide where we're going to assign that negative later, whether it be down 5 or left 2. But we'll get into that a little later. So remember, we're looking for the ordered pair now. And remember, again, they're kind of switched because this is x and this is y, and the first thing we see is actually our y. So, and second thought, we need to remember that it's almost the opposite of what we see. So for example, we see -4. So what that means is my y value is actually +4 because that's what the formula tells us. I see +3 for my x value. So what does that mean? My x value is actually -3. And I've now built my point, or my ordered pair. Well, let's use that as our starting point. We're going to go left 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my starting point. Now, I'm going to use my slope here, so I need to think about this. So I'm towards the top of my graph, so I need to think about where I want to put my negative. Do I want my first move to be up or down? It looks like we have a lot more room down, so it would be wise to assign that negative to that 5 and do it as -5 over 2 rather than 5 over -2. Because if it's 5 over -2, that means I would go up and I'd run out of room. If I'm making my first move as down, I have plenty of room on my graph to be able to move left and right then. So let's do it. We're gonna rise -5. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're gonna run 2. 1, 2. And here's my point. So again, rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, run 1, 2 in the positive direction. And again, we can kind of run this across. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it actually turns out we don't have enough room to do it again. So we're just gonna have to be happy with 2 points here. We have 2 points, and technically that's all we need. And we can draw our line. Arrows on the end, so that we can show our relationship goes on forever. Guys, that was just a quick look at how you graph point slope form. That's all I have for you today. I'll talk to you in the next one.